Okay. All right. Hello there, Decluttering Club. Hello, everybody. We have such a special treat here for you today. I'm super excited. Today, I'm here with our network coach, Danielle Smallwood. Danielle, thank you so much for being here. And we are talking today about why goals will not solve your clutter troubles, but this will. I am super excited. I don't know a whole lot about what's going on in this talk and what Danielle's going to share with us, but I love the title. I think it's genius because I know so many of us struggle with goals. And so we're going to get into it. This is a topic that we have today. Goals won't solve your clutter troubles, but this will. So without further ado, welcome, Danielle. It's so good to be here with you.
Thank you, Sarah. I'm very excited to be here.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? Like, who are you and why are you talking about goals and clutter?
So I'm one of the network decluttering coaches here for Decluttering Club or Decluttering School, I guess. And I also have clients outside on my own. And I'm a mom of 3 kids. And I live right outside of Washington, D.C. And I mean, that's the
So you're really into like all of the, like a lot of personal development. So not just decluttering, but also you are like all about habits and finding your why.
So that's what I talked about last time we got to talk to each other, was finding your why. And basically it boils down to, I'm very big on like the big picture. And because I think that what we do when we're decluttering is we get very focused on the minutia, right? We often find ourselves thinking like, but how many towels should I have, right? If there's like 5 family members and like sometimes we have, but like, like that's sort of the end piece. That's like when you've really kind of finished most of your decluttering and now you're really getting down to the nitty gritty. Like, okay, maybe there's still too many towels or something, right? But like, that's not the starting point. And so, last time we talked about starting with why, like understanding, why are you decluttering? Because often we're decluttering for other people's reasons. And we don't really have a big motivation. Like we're decluttering because like our mother-in-law says our house is too messy, maybe, right? And like, it's going to be pretty hard to find motivation to declutter when that's your really big reason, right? Like you have to want it inside. And so today I'm kind of building off of that. Like what it really boils down to is when, we talk about decluttering, it's like, okay, on the one hand, this is a very practical action. Like you pick something up, you make a decision, donate it, trash it, recycle it, sell it, whatever, right? Put it in the room where it's actually supposed to be.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's all decluttering is, right? Except it isn't. Like we all know that, because if it was that easy, our houses would be perfect.
Right.
And there's just such a huge mindset part of it. And, Julie last week had the most amazing talk talking about how our own self-care is so important. And that is a big piece. And we know that, right? Because sometimes you can sit in a messy kitchen and feel perfectly at peace. And sometimes you walk in and there's like 3 things out of place and you're just a basket case. Like, how could there be a plate on my counter? We've already cleaned up, right? And so it so comes down to, how do we feel inside? How is our brain processing? Like, what are we making this clutter mean, right? That's your big thing. It's like, what are you making this mean? Because really it's just stuff. So today I wanted to be a little more action oriented. Not that it's not fun to sit and journal about why you want to declutter, but and I wanted to start off by just saying that, first of all, I have like a semester worth of information and I'm trying to get into like 30 minutes. So
get ready, everybody. Grab your pens and pencils and get ready.
Super fast. And I want you to know that Sarah's going to share the link, but I have a little, guide that goes along with this talk. So if you're like, I didn't have a pen and I wish I could write some of this stuff down, I hope you're thinking that. Then, a lot of the big points are already in the packet. You can print it out.
Yes, absolutely. And let me grab that link right now. All right. So it's on Danielle's website. You're going to find it at thedeclutteringcorner.com/habits. Right. And the link is in the comments now. It's also above the video. So you can go grab it later and that will help you kind of get the idea, get the big picture. And then also there's some other goodies in there for you as well.
Yeah, because this is drawing on like so many different ideas that are out there. And so I'm trying to throw all the sources onto that page in case you are a decluttering nerd like me and actually want to read about all of this stuff on your own. And if you don't, I'm going to give you the highlights right now.
Okay. Love it. Love it.
So, and I also just want to start with this other caveat that I'm not perfect at this. Like, I think that.
Wait, what?
Yeah, right. And I'm so sorry. I came here to see somebody who is perfect at making habits and goals and everything, then you're about to be sorely disappointed.
Oh, what a relief. Seriously, right? Because like, who is?
But I think there is this idea that if somebody's talking about it, like there's this disconnect, I think, with an audience sometimes when they feel like that's great for them to say because they're probably so good at this that it's easy, right? And, I was talking to one of my clients the other day and I'm like, the reality is like, I have a very, very long history with clutter. It's not a great story, but like, I get it. I get how hard clutter is. And the reality is that for me, I think this will be a lifelong struggle. Like, I don't think I will ever have a day where clutter is just easy. It'll always like, I compared it almost to like, being like a recovering alcoholic where like, there just is no point where you don't have to stop and really think about what's happening.
Okay.
And like for other people, they get the clutter under control and they're good. Right. So there's a range, but like the people I tend to work with are the people like me who are like, yeah, I didn't see the clutter getting started. So, and that's why habits are so important. So let me get started. So the title, of course, is that goals will not solve your clutter troubles because, so I should say traditional goals, like by themselves, they don't work, right? They emphasize, first of all, the gap between where we are right now and where we're trying to get to be. But maybe we started down here, right? But if you're just focused on hitting this goal, you don't see all the progress you've already made. You just live in this zone here. Like, why can't I do this? Like, why am I such a failure? Why can't I just get up off the couch and do this? Right? Paying no attention to all of the progress you've already made.
Right. So you're like, I have not emptied the storage unit. So like I just haven't gotten there yet. And there's no progress. There's nothing to celebrate.
Right. But what if you've been doing your dishes every night and running the dishwasher? Right. I'm like, why aren't we celebrating that? But it's because when we focus on our goal and we made our goal this like ideal way up here of like having the perfect home, right? And no storage unit and, no clutter anywhere, right? Like we're constantly feeling disappointed with ourselves and feeling like that doesn't give us motivation. We wish it did. We think it should.
Right.
That's how we talk to ourselves, right? Like, come on, just do it. What's wrong with you?
Right.
And so lovely, if you're listening to this, probably that's not working. Well, I know it doesn't work for me, right? So the other, and I'm really sorry, I am like so tired today that I am actually working from my own little guide and reading, which is not something I typically do. But
you're fine. You're good.
Yeah. So when we're trying to reach a goal, right, we often find that our actions, like our day-to-day actions, are just subject to our motivation of the day.
Okay.
Right? And this is why you get so many questions about like, how do I get motivated? Like I got so much done last weekend and now I haven't done anything since then. Right? Because motivation is also not a great way to declutter. It's not a great way to meet any goal, right? Like if you think about trying to lose weight, like how many days are you motivated not to have candy?
Right. You're not going to feel like it. Like, sounds like no fun at all. Like
you get that big burst of energy and that's fantastic. Right. But it tends to be a very kind of like start, stop.
Right. If you have to wait for the energy, then you're kind of in trouble because what happens when you're having a hard day?
Right. And so people ask all the time, like, how do I have more energy? How do I have more motivation? But I'm going to make the point that that's the wrong question. That we just stop relying on motivation.
Okay. Stop relying on motivation. I love it. Sounds fantastic.
Okay. And then the third point I want to make about goals, there's like a million points we could make, but trying to condense it, is that often our actions don't align with our goal.
Oh, okay. Our actions do not align with our goals. Okay, go ahead.
Right. So that, again, like that creates those feelings of like stress and failure, right? And it's why we can count on our daily habits to predict whether we're actually going to make our goal or not.
Okay.
Right. And so this is what, the rest of this talk is going to be about, is these daily habits and why they're so important. But, if I'm going to give you a little visual, right? You think about your daily.
You know what? Let me just interrupt. Julie's asking, I'm on the Decluttering Corner site. Where's the guide? So you have to put your name and email address into the box, and then you hit the button, and then I think it will send you a copy of that, right?
Yep. It'll send you a link to your email, and you just click on the link.
Okay. Yeah. So fill out the form, and then you can get access to that. Go ahead.
And if you don't get it, check your spam filter. Or
check your spam. Yes.
Stuff like that in Gmail. But it should be there. I checked. The tech stuff was working last night. Okay. So, all right. Instead of working on our goals, okay, and now we're going to get into that like weird zone where we're like, oh, we're going to have a goal of changing our habits. Awkward. But you really want to focus on your identity.
Okay.
That's the ultimate place we want to be, because then we're not relying on motivation anymore.
Okay.
So first point, how we see ourselves is how we act, right? So for example, if you wanted to be a writer, how do you make sure that you sit down and write every day?
Okay.
If you truly believe, like you feel like I am a writer, right? You're not faking it till you make it. Like you truly see yourself as a writer, then you're probably going to sit down and write every day.
Writers write.
Yeah, they just do.
Right. Instead of having to write a book, right? Your habit would be to sit down and write.
Right. Yes, exactly. And I will talk about that. But if, so the irony, of course, is that in order to get to that point of seeing yourself as a writer, you have to actually sit down every day and write.
Yes. Okay.
So it's like one of those circles, right?
Right.
You have to do that. You've got to put in the time, and that provides the proof. That's why it's not fake it till you make it, because fake it till you make it is just saying, I am a writer. I believe that I am a writer. I mean, I have not written in 3 weeks, but I feel to my core I am a writer.
I've got pens and pencils, and I have a computer.
Yeah, I bought a new computer.
I have a writing corner, right? I created that corner.
Awesome. Right. But that doesn't make you a writer. What makes you a writer is writing.
Yes.
And when you actually create a habit of writing, that changes your identity. It changes how you see yourself. And now you don't have to make a decision every day anymore, right? Because decisions are exhausting, right? Decisions are exactly where we end up with that whole motivation piece, where, like we have to motivate ourselves to make a decision to actually declutter. And so we don't, because that's too many steps.
Yeah.
So another advantage of changing your identity, right? We feel happier when our actions are aligned with our ideals. And so, we were saying this, one of the problems with goals is that our actions may or may not line up, right? But if we want something, let's say I want to be a writer, right? But I consistently don't write, then I feel unhappy. I feel
like a fraud, right?
I feel like a fraud, right? Embarrassed.
Like I'm telling myself I'm a writer, but I'm not actually writing. So now I have this real disconnect.
Yeah. And so, when your identity lines up with your ideals, like you're going to make it there, because that's just, what you do. Like, you don't have to say, okay, I'm going to write like 14 pages each day. No, like you're going to sit down and write. And eventually, when you write every day, you're going to have written a book, or you're going to have written your blog post or a newsletter, or the emails you wanted to send to your family with updates, like whatever it is. Okay. And then tracking our wins is huge motivation. I know we're not trying to depend on motivation, but when we, again, sit and pay attention to the progress that we've made, actively tracking our wins, then we really get to feel that success of what we have accomplished, right? If you have defined being a writer as having published 3 books, let's say, right? Or 1 book,
Mhm.
Well, then you have to wait. You might have to wait 6 months. You might have to wait 6 years
Yeah.
before you are a writer. But if every day for a month or two, you sit down and you write, then, and you keep a list of all of those successes. It could be checking off a box that you did your writing for the day. It could be literally writing out what you wrote, whatever it is. You have literal proof that you are a writer because you wrote.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing's true of decluttering. I feel like it's easier to explain it with writing, but
Yeah. So what kind of identity would you put in place for decluttering and organizing? Like what kinds of things would work?
How big you want to go, right? I would say, like, let's say that your goal is kitchen zero. Okay. And you have it set in your mind that kitchen zero means that your countertop is completely cleared each night and the dishes are all loaded into the dishwasher and the coffee is ready for the morning, right?
Okay.
So like you would set your identity as I am the kind of person that does kitchen zero. Period, right? But to get to that point, and we're going to get here, right, is going to be creating a whole bunch of small habits that all end up working together.
Okay.
That's actually the fourth point I was going to make about your identity, is that it is those small actions that you do every single day that add up over time. So in his book, Atomic Habits, James Clear, and if you haven't read Atomic Habits, you definitely should. He says, and I actually can't do this math, so I'm going to trust that he's right. But he says that if you have a 1% improvement every day, at the end of the year, you'll be 37 times better at what you're trying to do.
Wow.
With a 1% improvement.
1% every single day, which feels like, I can get 1% better.
Right. Well, I mean, do a 1/10%, right? I mean, it's still going to add up, right? You're still going to be better off than where you are right now. And so, we have this idea that like, no, I'm going to wait. I'm going to get there though. Don't worry. So how do we go about changing our identity? We've kind of hinted at this, but I want to get more specific. So first of all, you have to, and this is not the fun part, right? I mean, this is where we kind of get into some like kind of hard truths, right? We want to say like, oh, this is easy peasy, but it's not. Creating a new habit isn't easy, but you have to make keeping that habit a priority.
Okay. And
you have to make the habit so small that even you cannot come up with an excuse that you would really see as valid, right? Okay. And I mean, like maybe if you're in the hospital, I guess, but like ideally, I mean, your habit is literally going to be so small that if you are exhausted, you can still do it. You got home from work super, super late and you just want to get into bed, you can still do it. You got the flu, you can still do it. And why is that important? Because we have to do a habit every day, like really every day. Like you can miss a day, right? But as they say with habits, like you don't want to miss twice, right? So habit, this is not decluttering just in the traditional sense of, try to just like work through your house. This is specifically habit formation for the purpose of transforming your identity, for the purpose of basically accidentally falling into your goals without even having to try,
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we're going to make it so small. And I'm going to give you an example of like the reason like every day matters so much more, because sure, you could do the dishes once a week, right? Catch up on all of them, right? And your dishes are fine, right? So sometimes stuff like that is hard for us to see. So I'm going to give you a different example. Teeth brushing. Okay. Imagine that you said, okay, I'm going to just wait till I feel motivated to brush my teeth. So sometime in the next week or two, I will definitely get to that.
I'll definitely feel like it next Thursday.
Probably, and if not, then
I can put it on the calendar, it would be great.
And I mean, like, what is going to take better care of your teeth? Brushing them every day or brushing them every couple of weeks when you get around to it?
When you get motivated, yeah.
So, teeth brushing, just keep that example in your mind. It'll help remind you of the importance of every day. Okay, now this is my favorite part. So James Clear uses the example of, he says that every action you take towards your goal or toward, creating your identity, every habit you create is a vote toward who you want to be. And while I love James Clear, I actually slightly disagree with that statement, because the reality is that every action we take is a vote for something. every action we take toward our goal, of course, is a vote for like this new identity we want to create, right? But every action we take is, in essence, putting a credit into, one of two jars.
Okay.
Right? So one jar is the change that you're trying to make, this new identity you're trying to build. I am the kind of person who declutters. I'm the kind of person who does kitchen zero. I'm the kind of person who makes my bed every morning. Right? Your other jar, like if you don't do that, you have literally put a credit into your jar of, I want to stay the same. Right? And I'm going to go off the thing a little bit here because there is the assumption that we are more scared of failure than we are of success. And there's actually some pretty good research out there that actually isn't true, because in a lot, I mean, if you've like invested a ton of money, failing could mean losing your whole life savings. So we don't mean that, but like, let's say you're failing at decluttering, right? Failing, right? And then you've done absolutely nothing and your house has just gotten messier and messier and messier and you don't know, right? And that, oh my God, I just totally lost my train of thought. Where was I going with that?
So you were saying that you could be more afraid of success than failure.
Yes. So failure is just staying the same, right? And that might not be what we wanted or what we think we want, but it is something that we know. And at the end of the day, like we're comfortable with that. There's comfort, even if it's negative, it's still comfortable. And success can feel really scary. Like we don't know what that will feel like. We don't know what it's going to feel like if we get close and don't quite make it. And so like, that's a huge risk that we're taking when we really take these steps to succeed. And we often find that we sabotage ourselves. So like, we'll make a whole bunch of progress and then we'll stop working because it doesn't feel like our house anymore, maybe, or
because it's the identity, right? Because it's like, I did all these things. I emptied the garage, but I don't think I'm the person who has a garage that looks like this. And I'm freaked out by that. And so I got to fill it up again.
Again, there's sort of the opposite disconnect with your identity and your actions, right? It's like your actions are still not in keeping with your identity. And that's a very scary place to be. Anyway, back to changing our identity. So the other thing is you want to keep, and we touched on this before, but you want to keep a running list of your wins.
Okay.
And like, this really is, like our brains don't always notice our wins. Right? Because sometimes it seems too small, or like, oh, well, that was easy. I just pulled out a bunch of clothes from my closet that didn't fit. So like, that doesn't count.
That doesn't count. Like, it has to be hard for it to count, right? Like only the hard stuff counts, but
it has to be in my house. Like, what if you went to a friend's house and they were having a really tough time and you helped them clear out their refrigerator, right? You just put a credit in your, I am the kind of person who declutters jar, even though it wasn't in your house, right? Like you helped somebody else and you acted like the kind of person who declutters.
Or maybe you said no to bringing something home from the store. In the past, you would have been like loading up all of the pretty things. And you're like, no, I think I'm going to leave these here, right? Like that's a big deal, right? But you don't have the evidence unless you notice it.
Right, exactly. And so that's why like I strongly suggest at the end of every day, just taking a minute and just thinking back to your day. Maybe you cleared out a bunch of emails, right? Or maybe you got the old food out of the fridge. Maybe while you were putting away some containers, you noticed a couple were broken and you recycled those, right? That counts. But if we don't see it, it doesn't contribute toward building this identity as a declutterer.
Nice. Okay. We got a couple people asking author. So this is James Clear. Is that his name?
Yep. Atomic Habits. And there's a link to his book on the Habits web page.
Okay. So we have a link. It's thedeclutteringcorner.com/habits. If you go there and fill out the form, then Danielle will send you a guide that kind of walks you through all of this and has some other goodies as well.
Right. But right there on the website itself, there's a list of resources.
Okay. Resources right there.
That's where there's a link to Atomic Habits and a bunch of other really cool books and websites and actually your Thursday talks anyway. So last point I want to make about changing our identity. Once you have made, like when you've actually made an action a habit, right? And again, we're talking small and we're about to go more into this. But like when you've made it a habit, that's when you get to add on another habit. right? Because you're thinking like, this is way too small. It's never going to make a difference, right? But when you've mastered one, you build onto it. And then you build a little more and you build a little more until you have like a full system in place, right? And James Clear, again, the Atomic Habits guy, has this other fabulous quote that he's really known for. It's like, we don't rise, I'm going to get this wrong because I didn't write it down, but like, we don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems.
Oh, okay. Yes.
And if you ever have a chance to listen to James Clear talk to Brene Brown on her podcast on Spotify, she like goes crazy for this quote, and it's the cutest thing ever, because she's also really awesome. But you know, and your system is just a set of habits that you've built together. You know, and you just build them one on top of the other, but it's a slow process, and that's why, you know, like it's like, I want to declutter this weekend though. Right? It's like, okay, that's a different topic. You could do that. You've got guests coming over, right? There's a whole different set of actions you're going to do to try to get ready for guests who are coming in 5 days. This is about truly making change that's not only going to help you get your house uncluttered, but help you maintain it for, you know, forever, right?
Totally.
So
Yeah.
how do you even figure out like what habit do you want to start with? Right? Because I mean, you know, especially when you're faced with like a whole house, like if that's your situation, it was my situation. It's like, where do you even start? And so I'm going to suggest that you just look around your home and say, like, where is it bothering me the most? Right? Like there are rooms that are typically easier to start in, like a bathroom is often a little bit less emotional maybe than, you know, maybe your closet is, or, you know, like your kid's bedroom or went off to college or something. But at the end of the day, like you're going to be really motivated by the place where the clutter is bothering you the most. So then you ask yourself, and I'm going to go back to my why question for just a second, but like, why is decluttering that space going to make a difference to you? Like, what's going to feel different? What in your life is going to be easier if that space isn't cluttered anymore? Right. And that's your big picture that you're going to keep coming back to when you're like, oh, it's too hard. I don't want to do this. Right. You keep coming back and like really envisioning it. You can go all the way down into exactly what it's going to feel like when you walk in to have breakfast and the table is already uncluttered and you can just sit down with your coffee and look out, you know.
Yes. So, right. Like that's the vision, right? You're working towards, I want to be able to sit down at the table at a nice, clear table and have breakfast. Like that's where we're going. So then you figure out what are the habits to create that experience.
Exactly. So it's like, what action are you going to take? Like, could you take every single day that's going to get you closer to that ideal? Right. And then you're going to break that action down even smaller and probably even smaller than that, right? Because it's probably too big. So for example, let's say that you want your kitchen to be tidy after dinner every night. Right? Your definition of kitchen zero, right? Your identity becomes like, I want to be the kind of person who tidies up after dinner every night. And then you've got to plan it out, right? So you're going to want to come up with, you've picked your where, because it's the place that's bothering you the most. You're going to pick your when, like when are you actually going to do this action? Because you want to link it as closely as you can to something that you do every day. So for example, I picked when I get up from dinner, I will take my plate into the kitchen sink area.
Okay. So just that that tiny little step, right? You're
exactly. Right. And now, you know, you think like, well, what good is that going to do?
Right.
My kitchen's no tidier. I mean, okay, maybe my kitchen table is, but like my kitchen's still a mess. Right. But that's what I mean. You have to start so small that no matter what is happening, the baby just fell and is crying, like you can still put your plate from the table into the kitchen. Right. And when you get to the point where that is automatic, where you don't have to remind yourself, oh yeah, go get my plate, put it in the kitchen. Right. When you just do it, then you add on, like maybe the next step is you're going to scrape off the food and leave it on the counter. When you're automatically doing that, then you can put it all the way into the dishwasher or rinse it off, or, you know, whatever your steps are. But, you know, that's how you add on and create like a whole system for cleaning up your plate, right? Because we think like, oh, it's no big deal. Just like, I'll pick up my plate and I'll just put it in the dishwasher. But that's actually a ton of steps that we have to do.
There's a whole bunch of tasks there that we skip.
Every single step is an opportunity to make an excuse. And we are good at excuses. I mean, people think, oh, I'm not a creative person. Have you ever stopped and thought about all the excuses you can come up with for something you don't want to do? You are a creative person. I guarantee it. I have never.
Oh, I love it. That's so true, right? It's
right?
like, but wait, the garbage is full and I'm too busy to take it out. So I'm just going to leave this here. Right. Or it's my son's job to take it out. So I'm not going to do it. So that means that, like this.
Oh man, right? That is a totally different question, Sarah, bringing up the loaded topics here.
I know, right? But you're right. Like those are the excuses, right? That we think, oh, well, this is easy, but then we get stuck at one little step in the way and then we stop and we're like, oh, I'm out. I guess I can't do this, right? As opposed to just solving the problem.
Right. And the point is, like, if you make it so small that you can do it every day, then you become the kind of person who takes action in their kitchen. Right? And the more that just is who you are, the more you're just going to do it. Right. I mean, I look at example. I don't know if you're watching my sister, but like, my sister will she'll finish dinner and literally her plates, like the dishwasher's like loaded. Oh. And I would still be sitting there trying to decide what we were going to do next. I'm like, everything's been washed. The pots and pans have been dried and put away. And I'm like,
you're like, what happened? When did that happen?
Like,
yeah.
Do that. Right. But it's like, she has a whole system built. And now for some people, those systems come naturally. Like I was, talking to my wonderful husband and son last night about this topic. And they're like, I don't know what you mean. Like goals are easy. You just like do it. And I'm like, no, that is because you naturally have this ability to break it down into the small pieces you have to do, right? Like you can just do that. But for some of us, we need, like me, we need explicit step-by-step instructions on how to do it because it's not how our brain works. It's not how, it doesn't make sense to us naturally.
Right. Totally. We have a couple questions. Sandy's asking where to start. Got to get rid of and relocate other stuff to be able to move things out of the rooms to be remodeled. Yeah, we have a couple of those, right? So some of this question is a little bit of a, how do I declutter? And so that's kind of a little bit off topic for this particular talk, but where would you start with building a habit? I mean, I guess you gave a couple examples with clearing your plate and getting those steps in place. What are some other ideas of habits that we can use to become someone who lives a decluttered life?
Right. So you can. So like one of the keystone habits a lot of people make is to make their bed every day. They get up and they start the day off thinking, okay, I'm the kind of person. It's not really decluttering, but it's tidying, and it kind of puts you in that same mindset. With like if you have a deadline like that, like you are like going under a remodel, like this is not the time, this isn't the process that's going to work for you.
Right.
This is a slow and steady process of really changing the way you think. And it doesn't happen overnight. You can't do it in 3 weeks, right? This whole 21 days to form a habit, like, I don't remember where that came from, but it's not true. I'm really sorry if you are out there thinking that I only need 3 weeks. I mean, forming a habit is entirely dependent on how often you do it, how big of an action you're trying to, how big is the gap between where you are right now and what you're actually trying to do. And that's one reason that these super, super tiny habits are easier to build, because you can form them much more quickly and then, keep building on instead of trying something that's too big. But so, yeah, I mean, if you have like a whole room and you're like, my floors are getting redone next week, this process is not
right. A habit's not going to help you get there. You need to focus in a different way. Yeah.
But a habit, like if you're building a habit now, and like, let's say like in 2 years, you're doing a remodel and you look around your house and you're like, this is not bad. Like I only need a couple hours and
we're ready.
Then I just need somebody to come and move these chairs and stop the furniture out of the living room. Right.
Yeah.
Like, wow. Like, who is this person? Right? How did I become this person? Well, you became it by giving yourself proof that you are this person who declutters, right?
Absolutely.
It's a long-term process that, like you might start working in the kitchen. And like part of the problem is the other thing we do is we jump around a lot.
Yes,
like,
that's a good one.
And I definitely do it. In fact, I decluttered my house in a nice circular motion of a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there, a little bit there. And I mean, it does work eventually, right? But it doesn't give you a lot of immediate reward. So I don't really recommend it actually, but it will work. But the point is, if you're building a habit, like that's the thing you do every single day. It doesn't matter how messy your bedroom is, or if you have guests coming over. If you have decided that the habit you are building is that you will put your makeup back in the drawer after you do your makeup in the morning, right? If that is your habit, then taking something out of your closet and decluttering is not building that habit. You have to put the makeup away. You can add on anything else you want to do, right? But if all you did was put your makeup away, you succeeded. And like we get stuck in the like, but I didn't do enough. Like you did do enough. Some days you have all this extra time and you're kind of on a roll and like go for it. But if all you do is stick to your habits, you're going to make forward progress.
Absolutely. Yeah. With our Kitchen Zero thing, and Kitchen Zero, for those of you who are not in our membership, this is where we start people off in the membership. And we tell you to start very small, right? And people resist that, right? They're like, I don't just want to do the dishes. Like there's all these other things that need to happen. And, like, no, but on your Kitchen Zero list, one thing, maybe two. And if you're overwhelmed because you're trying to do too many habits at once, you gotta bring it back and cut that list down. If you can't
do it every night, then you started off with too big of a list.
Right.
Break it down. And again, like you might have to break it down to the point of I just won't have dishes left on my kitchen table.
Right. And it doesn't mean that you don't get to do any more, right? Like you're not saying only do the habit. That's not what we're saying here.
Yeah.
We're saying the habit that you're building is
do the habit.
And then whatever else you want.
As much extra as you feel like. But, and then I mean, the other critical piece of that is like when it is really a habit, like when you're doing it, stop patting yourself on the back for, having cleared your plate and not even noticing, like add on. And now you're going to actually get it in the dishwasher, right? When you're automatically doing that, now you're going to run the dishwasher, right? Because I mean, when you think about that, that is a whole bunch of other steps, right? It's like, I put my plate in, so now I can run it. Like, well, now you got to get out the dish soap. Now you've got to figure out why you're pressing the button and it's not actually running. Is that just me? I think my dishwasher is possessed. I'm like, I pushed start. Turn it off. Turn it on. Push start. Anyway. But okay, so in the little guide that you can get if you put in your name and email, it will show up in your email box or spam. So just check there. But there is a habit tracker.
Okay.
And the example I just gave of the kitchen, I actually wrote that out in here so you can have an example of.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Kind of the thought process behind that and how you'd write it out. But then I have a blank one, so you could print out as many copies as you wanted. It's meant to kind of take you through one habit for a month.
Okay.
And I mean, there's a million habit trackers. Like if you want to, you can go on Etsy and find anything you want. Some amazing designers out there. But this will get the job done, right? Now, the other thing that I want to encourage you to do, this is my last point. If you are not doing the habit, like you're consistently not doing it and you've thought about it and it's like as small as you can make it, right? You need to start writing down why you're not doing it. Like what is going through your head when you choose not to do it?
I like that. I didn't
anything that we think that we should be doing and we aren't doing, right? You can use this for anything. Like this is just, we're talking about decluttering, but you can use this for writing. You can use it for weight loss, like anything. But like, write down, like, what were you thinking? Like, maybe you're thinking, I'm just too tired. Maybe you're thinking like, like I do have fibromyalgia and like some days are really, really bad pain days. And literally standing up and walking into the kitchen is actually a big deal for me on that day. That is a big deal, but I can do it. Right? It might be hard, but we can do hard things, And so if you're consistently not doing it, just really take a hard look at why. And again, this is like those like hard points. Like I want to say, oh, this is going to be easy. I just want to cheer you on. But sometimes we just have to be honest with ourselves, right? That like, if we are not choosing change, we are choosing to stay the same. So why are we doing it? Like, why are we not doing that habit? Maybe we're consistently tired, we're sick, we're in too much pain. Maybe we need help. We need somebody, like we just broke our leg and we can't carry it in because we're still trying to figure out how to use the crutches, right?
We're trying to expect certain things of ourselves on crutches, but like, oh, hello, newsflash, maybe that's not a great idea. Like maybe we should rethink that, right? But if you don't stop and think about it, then you're just beating yourself up for not doing that.
Right. Or there's all kinds of situations that happen. Like maybe you went out to dinner, so you're not clearing your plate, right? And then, like, well, did I lose my streak? It's like, okay, what could I do that just holds that place in, my process so that like, I feel like I'm continuing to build my identity. Maybe I just, put my napkin on the table and I put the silverware on my plate, right? Like a substitute action, or if you're a friend's house or wherever, like there's always something we can do to reinforce this habit we're trying to build. And so if you're telling yourself that like, well, I couldn't do it because I wasn't home. I couldn't do it because I was sick. I couldn't do it because, right? Write those down every day, not in a judgmental way, right? Like we're beating ourselves up for this.
Right.
We're human and this stuff is hard.
It's information, right? And then you can decide what to do with it.
Yep. And you might notice that like, I tell myself every single night that I'm too tired. Right. So maybe that wasn't a good habit to start with. Maybe if you have more energy in the morning, maybe you need to focus on picking up your coffee mug and putting it in the dishwasher.
Right.
Or, like maybe that's the better place for you to start.
Such a good point, because like, instead of just saying, okay, I'll try harder, or, or I suck, or I'm a failure, whatever, like maybe I need to change when I do this, or maybe I need more sleep, or maybe I need to take a break or something. Like, how can I fix this problem instead of just going, oh, well, that didn't work, like more evidence, right? No, right? Like, but you have to know,
because we're always gathering evidence, right? If we're consistently not doing it, then we tell ourselves, well, see, this is proof that I am not capable of this.
Right.
Like, no, this is proof that system wasn't the right one for you to build.
Right. Or you need to change something, right? Like I was, I'm trying to be real intentional with what I eat. And I was like finding myself in the kitchen it was 5:00. And I was like, well, I don't have the food in the house that I plan to eat. Well, okay, so now what? So instead of just being like, well, I guess this isn't going to work, I was like, no, that means I need to be aware and go shopping a little bit more regularly. Like that is the answer to this problem. The answer isn't stop planning. The answer isn't to just abandon this goal. The answer is I need to change something a little bit further upstream so that there's food to eat when I'm hungry. Right? Like this is how to solve this problem. Right. But you don't know that if you don't stop and take a look at, why didn't you do it?
Right. So, and like oftentimes I feel like it comes back to that question of I need more help. Right. Like that's, somebody's from like, I couldn't do it because I can't carry a box upstairs. So like I could declutter for a little while, but the box got full and now what am I going to do? Right?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that doesn't mean that we stop. That means that we problem solve.
Right.
Like how could we get more help? And like one thing that like often works for people is, they're like, oh, well, my, like, for example, like when we're talking to somebody, they're like, well, my grandkids don't like to come over and help me. And I'm like, okay, well, I have 2 teenagers. And it's true. Like if you come over and you're like, hey, I need you to help me declutter, they're going to totally recoil. But like when I'm having really, really bad pain days and I'll say like, hey guys, I'm putting things that need to go into my bedroom in this part of the counter. I'm putting things that need to go into the basement over this part of the counter. Can one of you please take them upstairs and the other one take them to the basement? Like they can do that because it's
like a specific assignment.
Yeah. And it's taking them just a minute or two, but it's meaning the world to me. But if we're just like, hey, I need your help.
Right.
That overwhelms people.
They think, okay, that means
same idea. We're breaking it down really small. So people.
Oh yes, that's a good point. Yeah. Right. It's how you make the request. Can you move this box for me? Yeah, no problem. Or can you come and spend,
they're often willing to come over and just like move a box.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, so there's resources. Obviously, sometimes it's harder to find than other times, but you just have to stay curious.
Yes, absolutely. Good stuff. Good stuff. Oh, I love it. Okay, a lot of people are asking, where can I find, so a couple questions. There's a link above this video where you can go and get the notes in the habit tracker, right, on Danielle's website. You are also invited. Danielle is a coach, so she works with people one-on-one, right? So do you want to say a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, so at this point, I only work one-on-one. I am, there's different options. I meet with people for just 15 minutes sometimes, so that they just need like a tiny piece of advice. They're stuck in this one little thing, and it's, just a quick, let's come up with a solution to this problem. We can do like a 75-minute call where we really dig deep, explore. And this is great for somebody who just like kind of needs help getting started and really has no idea where to go, right? And then I also have a monthly package where we not only meet 3 times a month for a 75-minute session. And I mean, you don't have to stay the whole time, but it gives us up to 75 minutes, which can be great. But we also have chat support in between. So we can do it on text, Facebook Messenger, like whatever works for you. But, so when you're sitting there and you're like, oh, nobody cares. Like I did all this work and like literally nobody even noticed that the kitchen was clean. Send me a picture, right? We can celebrate this because I care. I care a lot. And I'm really excited for you. And I've been there. I know what it feels like to be like, seriously, nobody sees this at all. Awesome. That's great.
I love it. That's so great. That's so great. Awesome. Okay. Also, a couple of people are asking where can we find the replay. So these videos are all on our website, right? So declutteringschool.com. There's a link in the sidebar. It says, I think it says Thursdays with Sarah, right? So all of these videos, we do one every single Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern. And all the replays are also shared on our blog for you as well, if you don't want to try and find them on the Facebook page. But
I actually put a link to that on my habits.
Oh, thank you. Oh, fantastic. Awesome. Okay. So I think that's what we have for you today. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. It was good to talk to you. We'd love to hear about your habits. Let us know what habits you're building.
And if you need or maybe help, I'm happy to talk to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Connect with Danielle. She's amazing. You're going to love her. So fun. Thank you for being here. So excited to say about this. This is a good one.
Well, thank you so much, Sarah.
All right. Take care, everyone. Bye.